ready to get past the shoe hype? Because today it's Yearn Shoemaker Day. Your host here, Rob Edwards of the Prime Dude, and I finally got my pair, and I've got the review done. I've worn them. Yearn Shoemakers, A551 single monk strap, beautiful shoes, pie crust apron stitching. I mean, on a gorgeous, sleek last, high quality leathers. We know about it if you've read about Yearn Shoemaker, if you've seen what could be hundreds of videos on YouTube where people break it down, they look at it up close. But how much do they wear them? Because I do worry about some of these shoes that we order online. We put trust in what they look like. They fit out of the box. But do they live up to the Prime Dude test? Because you guys, if you watch the show, you've been with me before. By the way, thanks for coming again if you have, and thanks for being a first-timer if you are. I put the clothes, the shoes to the ultimate test because I actually walk the walk and I actually wear the stuff. Before we dive in, please like, subscribe, turn on your alerts, guys. Thanks for coming back. If you're returning, thanks for being, again, a first-timer. Really appreciate the support. And, of course, all the feedback down below helps. Comments, compliments would be great. You can criticize anything you like, guys. I invite all the feedback. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Yearn Shoemaker, a little bit about the founding, which will be just a minute or two. I've got the shoe table review look up close and personal, and then I'm going to get into the wear and use of this single monk strap, right? A551 in a dark brown burnish from Yearn Shoemaker. Okay, a trip to the website. First of all, you can see right away it's first class. And these are $500 plus shoes. They go around $532 US to around $560. And then, of course, you could pay up to $300 more if you go with the artisanal sartorial upgrades, which I did not on my first pair. Of course, then you're getting close to $1,000 for a shoe. And I need to know a lot about these shoes before I make that type of investment. Yearn was founded in 2018. It's a relatively young company. That's only 7 years. When you compare it to the Northamptonshire English shoemaking class that go back over 100 years, it's pretty impressive what this company and its founder, Phoenix Fu, out of Chengdu in China. I've been there. This is where this all started. And Phoenix went over and saw quite a bit about artisanal shoemaking in the UK, was blown away by the techniques, and basically combined it with Chinese artisanal shoemakers to make Yearn Shoemaker, which is an elite luxury shoemaker in China. These guys are the top tier as compared to something like Meerman, which you're going to pay half or less in some cases for Chinese-made shoes that are also high-quality Goodyear welted. These guys aren't playing around, okay? So these are quality luxury shoes. Let's take a look now at the A551 monk strap that I ordered, get into some of the details, and get up close to it at the shoe table next. First of all, they are going for $560 now, even with the tariffs, and I'm impressed because that's what I paid. Now, if you go for your first order and you sign up for the email list, which is an absolute pleasure to receive the emails, they don't send many, you get, I think, a 5% discount on your first order. So it took me down to about $535. So we're over $500 US. For me, it needs to destroy an Allen Edmonds when it comes to style, uniqueness, last, everything. Well, this does have quite an elegant last, as you can see. Super sleek, almost with the square toe class look that you get in a very, what I think, versatile dark brown dress shoe. You can see what I referred to as the apron stitching. Get a closer look here. We'll zoom in. This is a standard fitting last as they coined it on the website. Now, what was fantastic, and I'll show you a picture, they actually had me do measurements. And I think this was the first company that did it. And I was able to use these measurements with a couple other companies like Bridlin, as I talked about in my recent review of Bridlin Shoemaker. Yearn was the first to ask me. And so the gentleman's name was David. He's running the company. And he got right back to me after my first order. I didn't even ask for help. And he offered to look at an outline of my foot and give me a recommendation on sizing because it was the first time. And these, sometimes they run small, they run big, even though I wear a standard UK 9.5. They took a lot of time, which I liked. They really wanted to lock it in, and they recommended a UK 9, which is half a size smaller. But fortunately, they sent me a 9.5, and it was a perfect fit. Bravo, all the points for the customer service. But what I would tell you after my experience is stick with your standard size in the UK, whatever it is, or add one for your US size. If you've been here before, you know I love me some closed channel stitching. All of their shoes boast closed channel stitching. Just a nice, beautiful touch, a sartorial touch to a dress shoe, a leather sole They add that extra burnished thin layer of leather over the sole so you don't see the stitches, and I think it does add a little bit of protection in what is, we now know, a hand welted shoe. So I might have said Goodyear welted, but these guys actually hand welt. So instead of gluing the strap, they're actually hand welting that piece of material, that leather, that becomes the binding point of the welt. They also hand stitch the outside of the sole, so it is a fully handmade shoe that is supposed to add some flexibility and comfort to the final product. So I picked my style for versatility. That was actually a recommendation from David because I travel a lot. And the one thing I love about a monk strap, if you can guess it, if you're traveling, even though I do travel with a shoehorn, what if you forget it? You don't need a shoehorn with a monk strap, even more so than a traditional loafer, which might need a shoehorn to get in. You can open up a monk strap, and you don't have to worry about the heel getting damaged because you can completely slide your foot in and close it off. So one thing I just like to recommend, some people get funny about monk straps and styling them with suits. I think a double monk strap with the two buckles might be a little too casual, but I think a single monk with a properly tailored pair of slacks is that buckle's going to barely show, if it shows at all, and it's going to look like a nice, dressy, dark brown shoe with a little sartorial touch of the pie crust stitching that I think is versatile to travel with and will go with anything. We know the heritage, pretty young company. We know the founders, what they're looking to do. They're trying to give you a fairly affordable, bespoke or near bespoke experience. If you want to spend $300, you can get fiddleback waist, you get all kinds of stuff. But let's stick with what I got in the A551 single monk strap. The basic line, pretty much $560 US. Tariffs haven't affected their pricing. It's the same when I ordered back in February before the tariffs went into place in China. Let's see if it's worth it, guys. We're going to get a close look and see about the actual quality of the craftsmanship of the shoe, and then I will finish this review with the most important part, because looking good is not enough for a dress shoe. You've got to be able to work in these, and if you get stuck on delayed flights or you end up being on extended trips, you cannot have pain in your foot way beyond the point of what is a break in understanding. You got to be able to wear these comfortably at some point and feel that they're breaking in after the first few wears. So let's step over the shoe table and get on with that part, and then we'll conclude it with my review of how they wore and how they styled. Now we can get just a close encounter with this shoe. The A551 single monk strap, split toe, so you can see that there. So it's a split toe monk strap with a beautiful apron stitching. This is crazy. This shoe is just is nuts. I absolutely just love holding and looking at it. It's so beautiful, I'm almost afraid to wear it. Have you ever experienced that? I am now. So before wearing this, I'm going to wear this week. I do love single monk straps. I do that. I love them because I think they're the most versatile travel shoe. You do not, I don't care how nice they are, you do not need a shoehorn, as I've already mentioned, with a single monk strap. So I was actually emailing that somebody from the CEO's email gets back to you on these international orders and asking about the shoe, and he said it would be a great versatile shoe, and the shoe is blowing me away. It's fantastic. So let's get into just looking closely at it. You're probably just enjoying gazing at it like I am. I can tell you up close, I do not see anything wrong. I do not own any bespoke shoes. I did send a picture to a friend I've referenced before who only buys bespoke. He is super refined, extremely refined about his clothing and shoes, and he doesn't prefer monk straps, and he saw a picture of these and he went crazy, and he is probably going to order them. I think it's going to close the deal because I'm wearing these to see him this week. So I will see him in Houston at a meeting, and I know he's going to freak out and probably buy these. But you look at what they've done here. So they have this fudging. I'm going to start with the apron stitching, but they've added almost like a brogue design here at the point of the toe and the vamp. It just catches light. I mean, the leather too. This is crust leather. This is from, and I'm going to look again, I think it is from Annane. And it's Annane. And I knew it, I just don't want to guess wrong. It's premium crust leather, and it's a dark brown patina. And you can see the patina is just lights out. But of course, you know it's quality leather because I talk about light play, and you can see it here. This is a true
homage to the monk strap, and they've taken just enough details to make it interesting without making it less formal. I would argue with anyone, I think a double monk strap is less formal than a single monk strap. I think the extra buckle adds a more casualness, still fine with the suit, I think, but I don't really prefer double monk straps. It's one extra buckle. I travel, I'm busy. This is one of my favorite shoes to travel with because I don't need a shoehorn and they just look awesome. So the toe, the leather hand craftsmanship at the split toe, what a cool detail. It's not aggressive, right? It's not aggressive split toe like the one I just received. When I say aggressive, I mean it's a beautiful shoe from Beckett Simon, and this is just, it's like burnished, and it's smooth. You just barely feel the divide. I love this last. It's the Y05 last. It's got the almond-shaped toe that I adore. It's just sleek. You can see how gorgeous this is, not just in the light, but in the shadows. You just have this, this just design, almost Bond-like, right? Action movie design. There is, by the way, I see that there's a little nick there for those of you jumping out. That is not beneath the surface, probably something I did, but it's gonna, polish out, no problem. I have done no shoe care on this yet, so it's just a little surface scratch. They happen. That's easy. That'll actually disappear with the Renovateur, which I am gonna make sure I read is okay. Sometimes with patinas, like not Crockett and Jones, Cobbler's Union, their patina collection, they very specifically say not to use Saphir, so keep that in mind, the Renovateur. But a beautiful apron stitch design with this pinking or fudging going along the vamp. I've measured these before. These guys, they're at like 17 stitches per inch, but I'm going to do it again. I'm also going to measure at the welt stitching here in a second. These are hand welted, and as you turn it over, this isn't the, I think when you get into their Founders line, you get the true aggressive fiddleback waist. I could have paid extra for that. That's not my favorite thing, but I do love how it looks, and you can get that option on the website. Beautiful tacking and nails at the almond toe. Just a smooth closed channel stitch. The black is pretty cool. It just goes so well with the dark brown. And then you've got just heel stack after heel stack, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, really 8. That's just crazy. This is a bespoke shoe without the measurements. When you get into 17 stitches per inch, which is what they publish, I'm going to double check. That's well into the bespoke range. It's going to be pretty easy to measure, I think, at the saddle here. But look at the bevel, look at the shape, look at the waist. Really long and inset waist, which is a mark of fantastic craftsmanship. Really I just am not surprised at the reputation, what I read. I paid a little over $500, as I've said, and this shoe does not disappoint. Now, looking at the shoe, I just dropped it by accident. It's okay. The shoe's fine. This is I like these flag-shaped backstays. It's a stylistic touch instead of the long strip of leather. Again, just the extra details for this price. This shoe, I don't care who you are, what you know. If you don't know it's bespoke, people could say this was bespoke. It's that type of quality. Yes, made in China. Amazing that we can, and that's why we get such a great price. They've taken such a great deal of care with the shoe. But you look at these details, that backstay, the flag backstay, the stack upon stack leather heel, the heel stack, the bevel. I really make myself not look at this too much. I open it, try it on, get excited, put it away, because I want to experience a lot of this with you. This is a shoe that's worth the money. I'm going to get into the buckle now as I switch back to my view. I haven't tried this yet. I know. I don't have to get too much into this, but the sturdiness right now, it's good. I'm not easily, the leather is strong, right? And so there's only 2 holes, which is fine. If it is a wider last, one thing you got to be careful about with monk straps is with 2 belt loop holes instead of 3. I have a somewhat narrow foot. I ran into this problem with CNES Shoemaker. Even at the right size, I had to trade out for a different shoe. I had a monk strap, a single buckle or single monk, and it just was still sliding. It was with 2. If I'd had a third and I can tighten this down, even better. But I love the versatility of being able to slip in and out of the shoe without a shoehorn. I do like the buckle, but it's real sturdy. You can tell a nice elastic strap here. It's durable. Again, you've got Annonay crust leather throughout the shoe. We'll take out the shoe. It is in there. And it's, again, perfect because I've been protecting this thing. Fully leather lined insole, right? And what I like too, not a lot going on. And there's just not a lot of padding. So, and I felt the shoe briefly, very comfortable. I think this is going to break in rather quickly. Again, I'm going to feel it because I've told you I got hammer toes. So it's going to take me probably 5 total wears before they feel like some of my other high quality leather shoes. But I mean, again, I just do enjoy the feel of breaking in new leather dress shoes like this. This is a light shoe. Just taking that shoe tree out, I'm blown away by how light it is. And this is a significant heel. You have to like that look. I'm pretty tall. This is gonna get me dunking on guys that are 6'3". I'm 6'2". I'm comfortable with that. Some people don't love a good size pronounced heel lift. This is, again, we got 8 stacks I've counted, including the rubber, the 1/4 inch, which is close. Yeah, 1/4 inch rubber addition to the heel. It's a pronounced heel. That is something that is known for monk straps. So not much more I can say about this. The stitching, let's get to it. I'm going to measure that real quick. Not shocked. This is in the 14. It's measuring at the saddle, which is the best point I can go to. I got to 14, almost 15 at the point I checked. And here's what's crazy. The hand welt is in the 12 stitches per inch range. That's what they mentioned on the website. So they have really knocked it out of the park with this artisanal line. And I mentioned that in the beginning of the show. This is part of the artisanal line. And this is pretty crazy that, hand stitched to the outsole, good, or hand welted at 12 stitches per inch. I'm happy with over 6 when it comes to measuring the stitches at the welt. And they've basically doubled that in a shoe that is so visually appealing. You can hear that I have almost embarrassed myself with the outpouring of love I've given to a shoe that I have yet to truly wear. Can't wait to do that. That's what's next. Again, true to size for me, UK 9.5. The Y05 last, perfect for me, average with foot. Just can't wait to put this to the test. I think I'm going to be pleased, especially at the compliments I get. This is one that I'm sure is going to be just fun to wear for all the reasons we like high quality leather dress shoes. Let's get to the wear and use and close out the show.
You're probably not surprised. I wasn't, because I've seen other shows regarding the craftsmanship of Yearn Shoemaker shoes. And people have sawed them in half because they're getting pairs sent to them, which is great. So no one's paying, and they're still trying to give you a review. But what I've noticed is people only wore them 1 or 2 times, and they feel great 1 or 2 times. But this is the biggest part of the review for me now, and I love this company. I love what they're doing. But this is, of all the shoes, and I'm talking over hundreds, I've broken in a lot of shoes. This was the most brutal, painful initial wears I've ever experienced. I wore these a lot. I typically, when I break in these shoes, they're on a trip, I don't have a lot of choice. They do not come off until I get back to the hotel room in the evening. I wore these on every manner of surface you can imagine. Through the airport, hard surface, large buildings, carpet. They were fine for the first half of the day. Then, as typical quality leather shoes, and these were made by, they used leather from the Annonay, famous tannery in France, one of the best. And it is, you can tell, it's supple, but pretty stiff, high quality leather. A lot of these leathers are going to come pretty stiff, especially if they're good quality. They're leather lined, they're comfortable when you put on, and they fit me quite well. It was not a fit issue, but wow, they hurt. And it didn't get better anytime soon. I had hot spots. I do have hammer toes. I've talked about this. I've got like my, if you call it the ring toe, ring finger complementary to the toe. First one in from the pinky toe. I mean, it took a few days. I could not wear Oxford type leather dress shoes comfortably for a couple days. I switched to loafers. This was a tough break-in, and I'm not done yet. Easily the best looking shoes I might own. I don't know if I have a pair that looks better than these A551 single monk straps from Yearn Shoemaker. I'm not sure any of the shoes I own, to include Crockett & Jones and others, were made as well. It hits all the points. You can feel the construction is strong. So I have to say, I still recommend them. I just want to prepare you. These are going to break in because they fit my foot. I have an average size foot. I do really well with the elongated lasts in sort of sometimes Italian style dress shoes, sleek, no problem. I'm very fortunate when it comes to the shape of my foot. And they knew when they looked at my outline, when I drew my foot, they knew this was going to be a good last for me. No problem. But, whew, you got to be careful with these. The next time I wear them, because I got to keep leaning into these, I'm going to wear them when I know I've got a meeting and I'm not going to be on my foot. I'm going to be driving and I'm not going to get stuck going 8, 9, 10 hours like I did twice with these shoes. Now, you're probably thinking, why would you do that to yourself? It's the only way I got. I don't have daytime meetings. Of all the suits and clothes I love to wear, 9 out of 10 times I'm putting them on elsewhere. I'm not getting dressed at home for meetings. I'm traveling. So if I'm going to trial a shoe, I've got to really lean into it. And it makes it quicker. But I did have quite a bit of discomfort and pain of the upper. The sole feels great, felt well supported. As we talked about at the shoe table, you have extreme leather stacked heels. They are built for comfort and support. Just saying, the high quality leather that it is, it took longer to get soft than anything I've worn before. So I'm going to update you guys. I'll put a short out there. Give me a few weeks. I'm going to wear these a few more times. I expect that I'm going to be able to say, yeah, 6, 7 wears. They fully break in, which can be expected when you put a lot of money into a great shoe. And again, by the look of it and by my initial assessment here, this is a great deal. At $560, Yearn Shoemaker is giving you something that is built like the artisanal superstars, the Edward Greens, the John Lobs, or even better, that you'd expect even from their bespoke line for thousands of dollars more. I'm here to give you guys the real. No one's paying me. No one provided these. And even if they did, I'd have told you the same thing. This pair of shoes needs a little more work to wear, but I think Yearn Shoemaker, for me, will live up to the hype. So I'm going to leave it there. I tried to cover everything. I wanted to give you an honest wear and use review. I can't totally rave about it yet because I'm still right now remembering the pain a little bit. It was a tough walk on the toes, the top of my toes, and my heels as the day wore on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming to the show. Thank you for your support. Let me know about your experience with Yearn Shoemaker shoes. I know a lot of folks out there have ordered them. Maybe it's this particular last. Maybe it's me and my hammer toes. Maybe it's just this is one of the highest quality leathers requiring more break-in. Because if you played baseball, the best gloves took the longest to break in, and they were all made of high-quality leather. With that, I appreciate you tuning in. Like, subscribe, sign on for the alerts. Keep the support up, guys. Tell me about your ideas. Give me something you'd like me to review. I'm able to invest a certain amount every month into products that you're interested in hearing about. And as always, stay prime.